Hi, everybody. Happy Monday. I'm sorry I am a bit late. I had a lot of trouble getting in this morning. Google kept taking me to another account that I have and then wouldn't let me go live. So here we are. I hope you haven't all given up. I hope that you have stuck around, and as you hop on, let me know that you're here. Let me know that all's well. Let me know how you are. Um, Again, I apologize for being late. I had some trouble logging on and getting into this account and going live. So, um, a lot has come through for today, and I'm not sure that I'm actually going to cover it all. Hi, Haruka. Thanks for bearing with me. I'm glad that you're here live. A lot has come through for today, and I don't know that I'm going to kind of see how much to go through. Get the notification, which is good on my phone. I don't get them with Insta. Yeah, great. Hi, Aurora. Happy Monday. Happy autumn equinox. It's a big day. It's a big day. How did everybody sleep last night? I have had quite a number of experiences over the last probably 4 months. And they actually started when something was built across the road, which is to do with the sewage in the area. And from that time, and I just wondered if they were connected. I don't know what's in that thing, and I don't know what it's emitting. But every now and again, I have these nights where I literally feel like I'm in a microwave. I can have like I barely get any sleep the whole night, and I literally feel like I'm being fried, not just temperature-wise. They have often been humid nights too, but actually like there's just things beaming around. And a few times I've actually woken up to these kind of noises where I've thought, I'm sure there's something hovering outside, like there's either a helicopter or there's something flying around, which was happening during the lockdowns. Like there was helicopters flying over quite regularly overnight. So I'd go and stand outside on the deck, but I could hear it, but I couldn't see anything. And last night, it kind of sounded like it could have been our fridge, which sometimes is pretty loud. So I got up to check if it was that, and it wasn't. And then when I went into the ensuite, which is the side of the house where these sounds tend to come from, it was like a sonic kind of rhythmical almost beating. And when I stood there, my heart actually started beating to the same pace as it was, but it didn't feel like a good thing. Like it was, because I sort of thought, is this kind of a frequency that I'm matching to? But it didn't feel a good frequency. And then I started to think, oh, I wonder what's happening with all these people having heart attacks. Like I just started to wonder about what is going on. So I don't know whether anybody else has had any experiences like that, how your sleep was last night. I keep having creepy dreams. Yes, me too, for sure. I keep having dreams where I meet up with people I haven't met for a long time. In fact, it happened again recently where my friend and her whole entire family and her whole entire extended family were in this house. And I was just kind of hugging them all and spending time with them all, but I knew it was an ending. And I keep having that too. I feel like I'm saying goodbye to people whilst I'm in my dreams. I'm not scared in them, but I wake up with going, what is going on? Yeah. So let me know how you've been sleeping. If you've had any, especially if you're in Melbourne, especially if you're in the hills, have you also noticed, or anywhere really, a kind of like some kind of frequency shift? So that was interesting. And look, I can't for sure say that it was something that wasn't a positive thing. I don't know. All right, we're starting with a card from the Matt Kahn deck, Healing Mantra. And it's tested up for me to start with this and then to talk about what it actually means. So it is the Awakening Inspired Action card. Awakening Inspired Action. And on the back it says, there is only what life is asking of me. There is only what life is asking of me. So awakening inspired action. What test up for the back, and I've heard Matt talk about this before, and it was life-changing for me. So I'm going to explain to you how he explained it and how it was life-changing for me. There is only what life is asking of me. So at the time when I heard him talk about this, I was still of the belief that it was my responsibility to know everything that was going on the planet. It was my responsibility to be conscious, to be aware. What are people going through? It's my responsibility to watch the news, to watch a current affairs, to watch shows where I am um, aware of people suffering, aware of what people are going through that live in places other than where I live. I felt like if people were going to go through this, hi Miriam, if people were going to go through these circumstances, then it was up to me to at least know about them. And then it was up to me to figure out what could I do? How could I help? So usually how I could help was by donating money. And that is what I generally did. Say I could highlight, I could talk about it with other people. Hey, do you know what's going on in da da da? Insert whatever the latest thing was and give money. Over time, a couple of things started to happen. One of them was my auntie saying to me, you know, that money never gets to them. She said, I used to give all the time. And then I read and I found out that really hardly any of the money ever actually goes to the things that we're donating to. And I thought, oh, that's terrible. What a terrible way to think. And I thought, well, of course, some has to go for administration and some has to go, you know, people have to be paid for what they do. But I still was like, no, well, it's the least I can do. And then the final frontier for me was, but isn't it my responsibility to be aware? Isn't it my responsibility to know what my fellow human beings are going through and experiencing? And isn't it my responsibility to at least keep them in mind, at least to be educated on what they're going through, have compassion and be invested. This is the biggest thing I was doing. I was investing my money. I was investing my time. I was investing my energy. And I felt like that made me a compassionate human being on this planet. Surely this is the least I can do. Surely this is what's expected of me as a member of humanity. And any mention of don't feed it, don't give it your energy just felt wrong. When people said, oh, I don't watch the news, I judged them pretty harshly. I have to say I judged them pretty harshly because I was like, oh, well, I hope it's nice in that bubble that you live in where you're not concerned with what's happening, because I needed to know politics, the leaders, who was who, what was happening. Now, of course, on the full other side of that, I realized that obviously they wanted me invested energetically and financially and time wise, and of course I had no idea what was going on because I was never going to find that out from the media. But one day when I was kind of in the cusp ready to kind of swing over into where I am now, Matt Kahn was talking about how do I know when something is mine to do something with. Of all the things in the world, you know, the famines, the floods, the wars, the whatever, how do I know when it's mine to do something with? And he said, how you will know is it will be at your door. It will be at your door. Whatever is at your door is what life is bringing you to do something about. Okay, so there is only what life is asking of me. And so so I'm here to free you and to say, you are still a compassionate, loving human being, a member of, a loving member of humanity. And you do not have to have your mind and your energy filled with every horrific thing that you hear about. In fact, you can be all that and turn the TV completely off and live in the present and live with a connection to source, whatever that is for you. And simply by living your day-to-day life and responding to what is in front of you. If it's in front of you, it's something for you to do something with, whether it is awareness, whether it does require your energy, whether it does require your money, whether it does require your compassion. Of course, you still check in, you still decide, still free will. But if it is not in front of you, it does not require your energy unless you want it to. Unless you want it to. But you don't have to live feeling like, oh my God, I don't know enough. If I turn this TV off, how will I know? How will I know the suffering? How will I know what people are going through? How will I know? Because there's a lot of aware people. So remember, not awake, but aware. Awake is when you're aware but in your power. Aware is when you're not in your power. You just know what's going on. And that can be when you're at your most freaked out in your aware phase. There's a lot of aware people that are watching a lot of stuff and they're going, oh, but I need to know what they're doing. I need to know what they're saying. I need to know what the asleep people are going through. I need to know what's being fed to my family and my friends. And I'm here to say, no, you don't. No, you do not. Because it is still affecting you and your energy and your vibration. And you do not need to be kept up on what somebody else's experience is, right? You're not there like the grand kind of, teacher, master that must know what your pupils are being exposed to. You do not need to know that. You only need to know and be conscious and in charge of what you're being exposed to, and know that awakening inspired action is key. Awakening inspired action is key. How do I know? What is inspired action? Inspired action is what spirit brings to my door very specifically in my life, with what I see, with what my conversations are about, with what comes into my awareness. Okay? And there is only what life is asking of me. There is not what I decide or what my ego decides that we need to be in charge and in control and fix and solve and heal and soothe everything. Okay. Let me know how that resonates with you and how you feel about that. I find it weird that I never watched the news and felt bad. I would have judged you, Aurora. I would have, like a couple of years ago, I would have gone, oh my God, imagine. No longer. This is no longer the case. And felt bad that I didn't want to because, yeah, people made me feel I should. And now I feel okay. There was a reason I didn't watch it. Absolutely. Absolutely. And in fact, you would have less to deprogram. You would have been less brainwashed as a result. Yeah, stop checking the news over 10 years ago. It was just too much for me. Yeah, and it's meant to be too much for you, Haruka. That's the whole point. If you get onto ABC or SBS, particularly SBS in Australia, and any of the ads, oh my God, if you watch and say like a 2-hour movie and the ads in between will be child neglect, world famine, animals being abused, it's constant. Childhood cancer, every single ad is tugging at your heartstrings. Why? Because ABC and SBS are viewed by what people call lefties. I'm not into the whole thing, but I'm just saying it because that might help you to put into your mind the kind of person. Now, people who would consider themselves right-wing would say, well, a lefty, like a bleeding heart lefty. Yes, compassionate, really compassionate, empathetic people who are sitting at home going, what can I do? And are being brainwashed constantly to be in trauma, to be constantly, where can I give my money? Where can I give my energy, right? On the other side, it's being done in the same vein. It's not in the same, in the same way about different things. But for a lefty, for a greenie, for a lefty, how you tug at their heartstrings is you show them children and animals and all sorts of things that are currently living in, conditions that break our heart. Knowing then when you start viewing it that it is all manipulated, and that is not to say it's not happening, that's not to say it's not true, but it is manipulated. It is shown in a way so that I do donate my money. And we now know from things that have happened in Australia, the fires, probably since the beginning of time, that when we do donate our money, it does not go to the causes we think it's going to, no matter who or what we're donating to. If it's a big structure, I'm not talking about individual people. I'm not talking about really sort of genuine grassroots. I'm talking about the well-known structures that we've always given our money to. So this card came up, and I wanted to remind you of that, and kind of do a little sort of expanded understanding on that. So what has been coming up for today, because that card just came out like this morning when I logged on, is portals, snakes and ladders, light or dark. This is something I've spoken on before, but it really came together. It was a combination of understandings I'd received before, things that are now sort of starting to come in and I'm getting an expanded awareness on, and then something that Magenta Pixie said in a channeling of the 9 yesterday. So I've spoken a number of times about portals. Portals are opportunities. I just use the example. They're like a bus pulling up at the front of your house, and if you get on, it can take you a long way. You can get on this bus and kind of get a ride of ease, kind of like a stream, an energetic stream, a physical stream of ease to kind of propel you forward in a way that walking could not, and being on a bus could. So that is what portals are. Then I've spoken about the fact that our bodies are a portal. This is something I'm really realizing now, that our bodies are a portal. Our bodies in this circumstance can be used as a portal to determine our timelines, to determine our experience, to assist in the ascension, to assist in the waking up. I've also spoken before about snakes and ladders, and what I was talking about there was that so as we're going along, like the game of snakes and ladders, right? You move your little man along, and sometimes you can go up a snake, and sometimes you go down a ladder and you end up going back down again. Energetic snakes and ladders have been put into this game, into this matrix program, all over the shop. We'd be going up really well, doing some great work, then we get triggered and we come back down. We can get triggered by a family member. We can get triggered by a previous thing we've experienced. Like by thoughts, by emotions. We can get triggered by the government. All the things that we're currently experiencing, they want them to trigger us. That's how we get manipulated. That's how we are controlled. Trigger us either back into being asleep, or trigger us into like a really low energy, because then we're more easily manipulated, and also we're exposed to a whole heap of things that we then don't have access to the portals. I started noticing kind of towards the end of 2020 that every time it was a powerful energetic time, say whether it was a particular moon phase, or whether it was an equinox, whether it was a particular, whether it was a portal number, like 2nd of February 22, something tended to go down. I particularly noticed it in Victoria, but I'm sure you might notice it where you are too, with what either was released in terms of information. It was very intentional. I started to realize very intentional to be a snake. Where it could be a ladder, it's intentional to be a snake. It's intentional to make us go, oh, and kind of become hopeless again, and really not utilize the energetics of that day, because we were in too low a vibration to actually be able to access what that day we missed the bus. We couldn't see the bus. What I'm now beginning to realize, and what some of you are picking up too, is that how things happen, and once you're aware, you will find yourself saying, well, I hope at least this wakes people up. something will be talked about in the news, something will be talked about in mainstream media, you'll read something somewhere or, some meme and you'll go, well, I hope this information will at least wake the people up. So what you're starting to see in that is that each thing can be used as a ladder. Although the things that are being released might be like a heightening and crazy, more restrictions, more rules, whatever, you start to look at it and you start to think, well, I hope this wakes people up. I hope people say, well, I'm not having the 3rd, I'm not having the 4th, I'm not having the 28th, right? And we start to think, well, I hope this wakes you up. So we recognize, okay, I hope this is a ladder for you. And so start to really understand that anything can be a snake or a ladder. It's not that things have been placed like, here's a ladder, great, I'm going to use that and climb up it. Things are never just a ladder or a snake. Things are both. And so portals are both. Portals can be both a ladder or a snake. Situations we encounter, anything we experience in our life, our thoughts, our emotions, anything that's happening outside of us can be both a ladder or a snake. I want you to start to understand that it's your decision now. It's a conscious journey. It's a journey of free will. Will I use this as a ladder or will I use this as a snake? So each portal that opens up, will I let them hijack me with whatever now they're going to bring out, with whatever the narrative now is? Or am I going to go, no, I'm just climbing. There ain't a damn thing you can say. And one of the times this was happening, I was talking about the analogy of the bus. And I said, there is no thing that will keep me from that bus. There is no thing. When the bus shows up out the front of my door, now that's a big call, because sometimes it could be a family member that's not ready to get on the bus. Will you get on the bus? It could be having to move from where you live. It could be having to leave your job. It could be a whole heap of things. Are you going to get on that bus? For me, I know, yes, unequivocally, I'm getting on every bus there is. I'm getting on every bus there is. I'm taking the portals, but I need to be aware of that. That doesn't just happen because I proclaim it. That happens when I choose. When I choose the portal. Aurora and I were having a bit of a chat yesterday about choosing the highest timeline. A client yesterday was saying to me, like, what's a timeline? Like, what does that even mean? If you start to recognize that every eventuality, every option, every possibility exists. Every possibility is something you can choose. And each one of those things is a timeline. And your frequency will determine the timeline that you're on. So what I was saying with Aurora was that when I do feel some fear, or when I start to think, oh, what would happen if money like completely collapsed tomorrow, if the social credit system is brought in, and I probably won't be high on the list of, people allowed to spend money. What would happen? Well, if I start to kind of get into that, A, because I don't know what would happen, B, because I don't know it's a given in my life, and C, because I can only use the past to imagine what that might be like, what I do in that moment is I take control of my frequency, of my energetics. And I do that by saying I choose the highest timeline. And then I fill my mind with thoughts that raise my vibration. So things that I love. I mean, there's a lot in that, these are a few of my favorite things song. Get your vibration high. And then I do not say this if you don't want it, but I do. I choose the highest timeline. I choose the highest timeline. And so that is what we can do in portals too, because we can look at portals like doorways. Will I go down the snake or will I go up the ladder? And then a couple of Mondays ago, I spoke about the body as a portal, and you can go back and you can watch that. What I want to add on today as I start to recognize more and more the power that our body has. Hi, Jane. Is that, oh, Wild Dreams here too. Yeah, wow. What I want to add on to the body as a portal is the thing that I realized yesterday. A couple of days ago, I got this. The body is a portal to creating heaven on earth, but if the mind is not pure enough, it can't achieve it. If we're not able to hold a high enough frequency in the mind, remember I said that ego cannot hold the heaven template. Ego can only hold the hell template. The reason it can only hold the hell template is because it's far too limited in its understanding and in its ability to expand. It can't do it. It just blows its mind. It can't really hold things it can't understand. It can't hold things it can't explain. It can't hold things that frighten it into being out of control. So anything that it hasn't happened before, anything that is going to mean an expansion, a letting go of all the safety, ego is not going to like it. It's going to hold on. It's going to go, no, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. And it has been programmed your whole entire life to watch movies of or see information, hear information of the end of the world, nuclear war, Armageddon, like post-apocalyptic worlds, which movies are full of these days, food shortages, climate, like catastrophes. It can hold all that. It can hold all that because it's seen it. It has seen it. And the fact that it has seen it in a movie doesn't matter because what our mind sees, whether it's real or not, it will take it as real. So Mr. Cook's and watering the plants, and I just sort of like, who's in the front yard? It will hold it as real simply because it's seen it. It will go, yeah, I know that. And anything ego knows makes it feel comfortable, and it would literally rather choose that as an outcome than to choose heaven on earth. The heaven on earth template can only be held by your right mind, by your higher self. And so the body can be used. The body is designed, it's been programmed, our DNA, to create heaven on earth. This is what we are here for, only if the mind is pure enough. And I don't mean pure in the sense of a religious kind of perspective, like don't sin and don't, whatever. I mean pure in the sense of a high enough frequency. I am pure as in light, enough light in the mind in order for that template to be activated. And so building on that, I realized that actually we are each a portal. We in ourselves are a portal. I know it might feel like I'm telling you a lot, but it's just building and adding on. So there are portals. Just recognize there are portals. I'm sure you do if you're here and you're listening. This is nothing new to you, but let's recognize, let's build on what we know. We know there are portals. We know that certain days offer high energetic portals, abilities to walk through doorways, abilities to jump timelines. We know that a portal, if we move through it, it's like a ladder. Each portal, though, start to add this understanding, can also be a snake, in the sense that we can just as easily go down in our frequency and actually drop in the timelines. Drop and going up in timelines, obviously meaning the frequency that that timeline holds, the level of light or darkness that that timeline holds. And we've seen how this is purposefully manipulated in the matrix, in that when there is opportunities for a doorway and for a ladder, they will bombard us with information that could, if we choose to allow it to, really, really bring our vibration down. And it becomes a snake. And so we start to recognize actually anything can be a portal. Anything I hear, anything I experience, any interaction I have with another person, any thought I have, any emotion I feel, is really a portal, and I can use it as a ladder, or I can be asleep, unaware, and actually it becomes a snake, and I go in a downward spiral. Building on that, the recognition that the body is a portal. The body is a portal through which I can create heaven on earth. And the thing that I'm going to add on now is the realization that came to me as Magenta, was channeling the 9 yesterday. I am a portal. We are each actually a portal. That is actually what we are. We are a portal. What does that mean? In chapter 10 of my book, I talk about becoming conscious and becoming aware of what we add to the collective pot. So I talk about, when things come to you, what do you do with them? If anger comes to you, do you add a whole heap of anger on and throw it in, and then there's more anger in the collective pot? Or do you receive it and neutralize it, and then the level of anger in the pot stays the same? Or can you become conscious of whatever you receive, you can actually transform it into love. And then that is what you put back in the pot. And then you become like this like where you're adding love to the collective pot. And when enough of us start doing that consciously, then that collective pot that we all feed from, that we're all connected to, becomes of a much higher vibration. And then our reality will reflect that. So the 9 were talking about 10 days of light and 10 days of dark. I'm sure you've heard this at various times throughout this, where people have talked about 3 days of darkness and 10 days of darkness and 21 days of darkness and 3 months of darkness. And we've thought, what does it mean? Does it mean no power? Does it mean no internet? What does it mean? So what the 9 were saying is that the equinox, which is today, obviously autumn here, spring in the northern hemisphere, is the start of 10 days of dark or 10 days of light, depending on what you're able to hold. So some will experience 10 days of dark. And they were saying this doesn't mean 10 days without power, 10 days with internet down. It just means 10 days of darkness in terms of what their reality is reflecting. So does that make sense? Let me know if that makes sense. Or it can be 10 days of light, depending on where what vibration you're at and what you're able to hold. So it could be, you could say, wow, that 10 days, you could get to day 11 and say, wow, that 10 days I felt pummeled. I felt like I've been hit by a truck energetically. I felt so low. I had no energy. Everywhere I looked, everyone was so hopeless. There's just constant bad news, just constant upping, so much conflict, so much fighting. That could be your 10 days. Or it could be 10 days of, wow, I almost feel like I've just been on a holiday, and I just met some really amazing people, and I'm just having such brilliant connections, and I'm having conversations with people that are just, they get it, and we're on the same. So does that make sense? Well, yes, because darkness is just the absence of light. Yes, makes sense. You mean from today? This phase starts today. Yes. So the 9, which if you don't know, they're a group of spirits. They're an energetic frequency that Magenta Pixie channels. So her channel on here, Magenta Pixie, you can go to it. It's about 16 minutes. Have a listen to it. As I was listening to that, I put everything else together, and I realized that's what it means that we are a portal, and that's actually what I was talking about in that. What are you putting in the collective pot? So we are here to bring light to the planet. We are here to bring light. And because we are a portal, You are actually a portal. So you can actually be a portal for others. Others can encounter you. They could have a conversation with you, or they could be in your energy, or they could whatever, read something you wrote, something you shared, whatever. And you're in yourself are a portal. So that's on the micro level where you're affecting people directly. They could encounter you and you can become a ladder. This is not something you have to do consciously. Don't let that get your ego mind into, oh, see, I knew I was here to save the world. You're not here to save the world. You are here to be you in its fullness, authentically, in its fullness. And then to understand that when you do that, people will benefit from that. You are in that level, on that sense, you are a portal. But on the collective, we are also portals. And when we start to become conscious of that, we can really start to understand we are the light coming to the earth. We are what brings the light. We keep waiting for the light. We keep waiting. Some are waiting for a savior. Some are waiting for a higher frequency. Some are waiting for disclosure. Some are waiting for the veil to lift. We're all waiting for different things at various times using different kinds of languaging, depending on where we're at in how we, where we're at. And we're waiting for the light. The light will come to the earth. We read about that in books. We hear about it in channelings. We hear about it in teachings. When the light comes, when the light will increase, the frequency on the planet will increase. We know this. Yesterday, the final is that will come through us, through us. We are the ones that will allow more light here than what there has been, well, many say ever. So if you can start to understand that, or not understand, because I'm sure you understand it, but start to really hold the depth of that you are a portal and you will bring the light. And you will do that by using the ladders. And you will do that by choosing the higher timelines. And you will do that by being really conscious of your frequency and your energetics and all of it. But just asking at every kind of time that you're conscious, like, what do I want to do right now? Do I want to be a port? Because we're also a portal. And because every portal can be either a ladder or a snake, because every portal can be used to go up in timeline or down. And you'll hear some people say, I know Oracle Girl, I think, has mentioned this a couple of times. A few people have mentioned this. The lower timelines are now shut, right? So there are some that you will not go back down to. There's a level that you will not go down to, but you can certainly allow yourself to spiral down. There's no doubt about that. So recognizing that you are a portal, so therefore you in yourself could be either a ladder or a snake for the planet, for what the planet can hold, for its ascension. So you are either going to bring light or you are either going to bring darkness. So this 10 days of light or 10 days of dark, I feel like what it will give us the opportunity for is to really tap into that on a level that we have not before, to really tap in consciously and to go, there are 10 days of a portal that's open. So there are 10 days of a doorway that's open to us. Some will go through it and fall into the dark and possibly fall into a hopelessness and a depression that they have not before. Your choice is walk into it consciously. I'm telling you about it now. You're hearing about it now, so now you're conscious. So it's a conscious choice. Walk into it as a ladder, knowing that in this 10 days, I have access to more light than I have ever had access to before in this body. And because I'm a portal myself, I can actually access the portal, and then allow that to beam through me onto the earth, right? You're like the magnifying glass that lets the portal that connects. Okay, and that's the other thing I wanted to talk about a little bit, but let's just breathe. I've tested up, like, yes, I can mention it. It's not too much, and then we'll, but let's just breathe on that, because I want you to just to be able to like feel that, absorb it. Let me know if there's any questions that you have on that. Let me know if I explained it in a way that you understand, but also that kind of resonates. Any thoughts, any feelings about all of that? I mean, I've said a lot, but really I'm only saying what I've been saying along what you'll have heard other people say. Undoubtedly, we're all connected to the same source, and just putting it together in a way that I hadn't realized it goes together. I hadn't realized to the level that we can be that magnifying glass for the light. Two cards. Was it Magenta Pixie? So it is spelled. Now, I can't spell without writing it down. Have never been able to spell off like without seeing it written. So it is. Actually, can I put it in? And will it stay? Hopefully it stays in the replay. It's Magentapixie. And it is her most recent. And if you go to my stories on Instagram, I did share a picture of it, and it'll still be up because it was in the last 24 hours. I didn't share a link, but I just shared a picture. If you're new to Magenta and you start listening to her videos, you will not be able to keep up for a while because she speaks in code. She pretends she's writing a book. She's writing a book. It's fiction, purely fiction. And so she talks about the book and the characters in the book and and so it's so coded so that she doesn't get flagged and deplatformed, that you'll be like, but you'll get the hang of it. Yes, love it. You're putting it into words for me. Great. Yeah, that's what I do. That's what I do. I put it into words because I love words. I love words. So putting it into words is something I can always do, and something that you don't have to do, because some of us put things into words, and some of us put them into art, and some of us put them into music, and some of us put them into movement, and some of us put them into building furniture, and we put them into different things. So that's okay. Aurora, I've got the words. And actually, I don't think you're horrible with words, because a lot of your stories are very. So 2 cards, and let me know in the comments, how is this landing for you? How's it feeling? Any questions, any thoughts? So Jane, you were also saying wild dreams, and a lot of insomnia. But insomnia in a way where I actually don't feel that tired the next day. I actually wonder whether some of us are getting to a point where we just need less sleep. I slept from 10:15 till 12:15 the other night, and then was so awake I could have literally gone for a hike. Like, I was literally lying in bed going, I could go for a walk. And I mean, I stayed in bed, but I didn't fall back to sleep until about 5 o'clock. But I wasn't that tired the next day, which is odd. Okay, Sisterhood of the Rose, Beauty and Devotion, Priestess, Mystic, Teacher. Okay, there's something in the book for me to read on this. So let me have a look. This is from the Rebecca Campbell Work Your Light deck. Sisterhood of the Rose. Okay, let's have a look. So how are you feeling about being a portal and a magnifying glass? How does that feel? I can write things, but I can't say them. My voice just goes blah. The connection, the fingers might be better for me. I think that's something that you hold that I don't actually see evidence of. And I don't doubt that you were taught this, or that you actually experienced it at a point in time, like where it really was something that you experienced. But I would not, I often listen to your stories and I would not listen to them if it was you going blah, blah. I just would not. Sisterhood of the Rose. 80. Okay. Surround yourself with beauty and create beauty wherever you go. Okay, sounds pretty good to you, Marianne? It does sound pretty good. That's good. So surround yourself with beauty and create beauty wherever you go. So this is guidance for the next 10 days. How will we be the light? And the answer is surround yourself with beauty and create beauty wherever you go. Do it with what you wear. You can, that's a good time. Color, beautiful color. Beautiful scarf around your throat, and I will speak with beauty. I will walk in light. I will see the light. I will, bathe in the light. I am the light. Like, you literally can just start. Once you learn how to affirm, it just comes very naturally. I bathe in the light, I walk in the light, I am the light. I bathe in the light, I walk in the light, I am the light. And you can just literally, just as a mantra, do it very naturally as it comes to you. If add on when you want to add on, repeat whatever feels good. Great. Choose beautiful. Choose beauty, choose to create beauty. Do it in something you cook, do it in something you whatever. Listen to beautiful music, look at beautiful pictures. Just do something that has a lot of beauty, right? So surround yourself with beauty and create beauty wherever you go. Okay, the next one is trust the niggle. What is the niggling feeling trying to tell you? And that one, we don't need the book for. It's saying just have a feel into. If you're listening to this, if you're on it live, if you're listening to it as a replay, trust the niggle. What is the niggling feeling trying to tell you? See what comes. I'm going to share a little bit of the bridge stuff that's coming through. We are the bridge. I've spoken a little bit about this mainly with people in their sessions. It's been coming up in their individual sessions, and especially on connection walks. We are the bridge. And I'm going to do a video. Am I going to wait till next Monday? You're going to wait till next Monday. Okay. about we are the bridge. We are the bridge people. And I'm going to talk about that next Monday in its fullness, in its entirety, because there's enough here. We have enough. We have enough. Actually, let me tell you a very funny story about being enough. I took somebody on a connection walk yesterday, and as we were walking along, we were talking about this thing of, because so often people finish at some point in a connection walk, they have the realization, I am enough. And the lady pointed at the leaf and she said, like that leaf. And I said, it's just a leaf. She said, it's just a leaf. Excuse me. And that tree is just a tree, and they just are what they are in their full authenticness, and they don't question. And I said, I know. Imagine if you were walking through the forest and the leaf was sitting there going, am I enough? Or like the bird was going, does this brown look okay on me? I mean, we're just laughing so much just at the absurdity. Imagine what the plants and the animals think when they look at humans constantly begging to be validated. Am I enough? Does this look all right? Does this suit me? Does this, Does my hair look all right today? Does it look better blonde, or should I go back to this? Like, imagine, trees going, is this color leaf all right? Or what do you think? Like, should it be more green? Like, the absurdity of that really helped to highlight to us how insane it is when we do it, right? That you would not just be what you are. Niggle as in gut feeling, yes. Like something that's niggling at you, something that kind of keeps tapping you on the shoulder, something that's kind of not right, something that's not sitting right, or something that keeps coming up to be thought about. Yes, that's the niggle. Yes, so the bridge, so we are the bridge. This is the other thing that's kept coming to me, and it now makes sense. And it's so interesting that obviously the messages come to us in many different forms, but they're always actually saying the same thing. They just come to us in the level that we can understand them at the time. The whole bridge analogy has been coming to me through this whole entire time, and I've known that, okay, we are the bridge, in the sense that we were in the old world, I call it the before times, but we are here to create new earth. This is what we are here for. We are here to create heaven on earth. We are the portals. We are what the light will come through. We will anchor the light. I'm going to really talk about that on Monday, but also knowing, okay, I am a portal and I am part of the bridge that although I have been in the old world, and although I am still partly, some days more so than others, in the old world, I am the portal that will create the new earth and in the heaven on earth. And in that sense, I am the bridge. And the bridge folk are coming to me, and they're often torn. They're often like, they feel imbalanced, actually. A lot of them feel imbalanced and really confused at this time. So it's saying it's too much to just go into it fully now. Next Monday, I'm going to talk about the bridge. So I'm talking to and just drawing in the bridge people, anybody that needs to know about being part of the bridge. If you're like, am I part of the bridge? Don't worry about it. If you're here, you'll be here on Monday anyway, or you'll watch the replay. For some of you, you'll go, yes, I fully can see, because you will have always been the bridge. So a part of you will have always known this is not right. Something is not right. A part of you will have always known that. Yes, the spark came for me when I stopped seeing people and myself as the external and seeing and feeling people as energy. I instantly stopped seeing myself as my looks or my abilities. And you know what? They're there for us to have fun with. Like they're there for fun and for enjoyment and for being in your authenticity. So for some people, it feels authentic. Like when I shaved my hair off, that felt very authentic. For other people, it doesn't. I dye my hair blonde, and that feels authentic. For some people, it feels authentic to dress a certain way, to whatever. As long as it's authentic, as long as this is authentically me, and then I don't walk around and go, am I enough? Am I enough? That's that part. So yes, we are not our looks. We are not our abilities. We are portals of light, and we are fractals. We are multidimensional. We not only exist here, we exist in God knows how many other places, in God knows how many other forms. And it's just the reminder of you are enough, and there no external validation is needed. You can interact with the external as a feedback, but only ever as a feedback as to where you're at. Only ever as a feedback of your own trigger, or only ever as a feedback of your own doubt, or only ever as a feedback of, this is not where I want to be. This is more where I want to be. This is not what feels right for me. This is what does feel right for me. Even what is beauty for us, even that reminder of, be like, choose beauty, going to be different for everybody. All right. Deep breath. And just have a feel in. Just kind of maybe move your shoulders and just move your body a little bit. And just another breath. And remembering also how we're going to set the tone for the week. So become conscious of that. If you would like to share it, please do. And any other thoughts, insights, or questions in the last sort of couple of minutes, please feel free to pop them in. Let me know how this felt for you. Let me know how you are feeling now. Thank you for being here. It's always lovely to have you. I'm liking YouTube. I'm liking the energy of this. I'm liking the feel of it. It feels a little more like we're in a room. It feels a little more private than Instagram, I think. You're welcome. Remember, just start consciously setting a tone. You set the tone. It's interesting too with tone, light, dark. I set the tone, turn up the light. I decide, turn up the light. Seeing and feeling beauty in my week more. Beautiful. Beautiful. Let's all do that. Let's all do that. I'm going to read that out one more time. And remembering, you are a portal. You are what brings the light. So in this 10-day portal that's open, but of course anything is a portal, it'll just be heightened. This 10 days is heightened, so make the most of it. And knowing that anything is a portal and anything can be used as a ladder or as a snake. They for sure will attempt to use it as a snake. You will decide, no, I'm just going to keep climbing. Going to keep climbing, mofos. Just going to keep climbing. Not going down that snake. Sisterhood of the Rose, 80. Surround yourself with beauty and create beauty wherever you go. Harika, for this week, we'll try to be the adult in the room. You for sure will take try out of that, because try, it says, look, I probably will fail, but I'll give it a damn good go. For this week, I will be the adult in the room. For this week, every time I'm conscious, I will be the adult in the room, and you for sure will do that. Yes, we'll be conscious of beauty in the next 10 days. Great. All right, everyone. Have a lovely week. Beautiful. It's always beautiful to start the week with you. And I may be on Instagram spontaneously sometime this week, maybe talking about this a little bit, just seeing where people are at. Next Monday, I will really go into what it means to be the bridge. And once I put that out there too, they'll give me a lot of stuff over the week that'll expand my understanding of it, and that they'll give me what they want to come through. All right. Take care. Much love, and see you next Monday.